Oh my mother, oh my mother, oh my mother, family. A huge surprise, Doohan has had 2 races in 2025. There's no pace, but there's damage. He destroyed the car in Australia. Rumors say it cost around 800,000 for the budget cap. I suppose it's all fine, right? There's no pace. He hasn't shown pace here either. He's lost Gasly's slipstream. We'll show it. He's made mistakes and has already been penalized twice by the FIA. It's absolute madness. And at Alpine, surprise family, they rate it as a mega work. That's how Alpine defends Doohan. Obviously, Colapinto isn't going to enter in Japan. We already knew that. Obviously, we know the most likely date could be Miami. But this we did not expect, that Alpine, right after the race, would say that Doohan directly did a mega job. For me and for many, it's disrespectful. And then they complain that the ones who show disrespect are the keyboard warriors. One section on YouTube. Stay and enjoy and give a big mega like if you think Doohan just didn't do well this weekend. Doohan did not perform. He was penalized twice. He also made mistakes that caused major damage. We could analyze Doohan's entire weekend, and we probably will throughout the week, but now we're going to focus on the race. Because yes, right after the race, and this isn't Priatore obviously, messages come in that say, I still believe in Doohan, with 227 likes. Suddenly, Doohan fans have appeared out of nowhere. I don't understand. Some Doohan defenders say things like, he defended well against Hart. We'll see that now. And Alpine answers, mega work. That's Alpine's defense for a Doohan that everyone sees is not doing his job. And that clearly there's someone who could do it infinitely better. Franco Colapinto. What happened with Doohan today? Let's see all the trouble he's been in. We'll not only look at how he allegedly did a mega job defending against Hart with this performance that seems pathetic to me. Defending your driver when the FIA has penalized you 10 seconds for doing this, for ruining someone's tires, and for pushing hard off the track. As I say, the FIA penalized him. I find it disrespectful. Anyway, let's go step by step because that's just one of the things that happened in this race we've enjoyed so much. That's how Gasly was watching it from the start. And obviously, we also saw Colapinto. I've been paying attention to everything. Alpine folks, I don't know if you have too. I recommend you watch the Maniatico summaries because a lot has happened at the Chinese Grand Prix. But one of the first things was the start. And at the start, we already found a Doohan who messed up right away. He started from a tough position behind Gasly and notice that the car in front is Gasly at all times. You can see it there. That's Gasly in the Alpine. Doohan tries to follow in his slipstream. At first the start is okay. There's a Haas he tries to shake off, and ahead is Sainz. He almost goes side by side with Carlos Sainz, and obviously he's overdriving. He makes one mistake, then another, and suddenly neither Sainz nor the Haas, some kicker, is within his reach because he made a mistake while the other driver pulled away. Obviously, it's a disaster. He loses 2 positions. In reality, he only loses 1 theoretically, but it's 2, as I've shown you. This supposedly is a mega work. Let's see what else happened with Doohan, because that mega work is the defense he put up against Hart, which for me is shameful at this stage in Formula 1. I'm gonna show you how you do overtake and how you don't. But let's take it slowly. At that moment, Doohan, as I said, was in 17th place, nothing less, and Gasly was 13th. But the gap wasn't huge. Take a look. In that moment, the race continued and Doohan saw Bortoleto make a mistake. That put Doohan in 17th with Lawson right behind him. We saw Doohan's race pace, 149.1 compared to Gasly's 138.5. There's a 6/10 difference in the first 5 or 6 laps. Bad start, bad first laps. Then we get to the point where between Gasly and Doohan, we have Stroll, Sainz, and Behrman with a gap of practically 3 seconds in 6 laps. That's half a second per lap. Here we see how Doohan is clearly stuck with Behrman and Lawson behind him, and Lawson has shown a pathetic pace. The only one on Lawson's level was Doohan, who ended up behind him after the penalty. Sometimes Doohan turned in a decent lap, 139.3, 139.3, but then obviously he fell back again. At that moment, Gasly is 12th. On lap 11, Gasly comes into the pits and Doohan doesn't. This is a key factor in understanding what will happen on the next lap. Then Doohan and more drivers come in. So Gasly and Doohan remain closer. 16th for Gasly, 18th for Doohan, who's now 6 seconds behind Ocon. The race goes on, and little by little the problems grow for a Doohan who's gradually taking more risks and getting more nervous. Here on lap 18, we see Gasly making some mistakes. We showed them on the telemetry. He's 2 seconds ahead, so you see that Doohan still had a chance. Here it's 2.3 seconds. Look at the lap times. 1 minute 38.6 seconds for Gasly. The only time he's making mistakes or saving tires or whatever you want to call it, then 1 minute 38.3 seconds. 1 minute 39.8. Doohan drifts away again. Once again, 2.4 seconds. The Williams hadn't pitted yet, so at this moment, Albon comes into the pits and slots in between Doohan and Gasly. The difference in pace is half a second or 6/10 per lap. Here we see Gasly's 1 minute 38.4 seconds to Doohan's 1 minute 39.3 seconds, or 139.4. That's 6 or 7/10 per lap, which in F1 is a lot. He's dropping those 6 or 7/10 mostly in the first sector. That corner has given Doohan a hard time all weekend, losing him so many tenths. Moving on, we see that Behrman gets behind Gasly. Why? Because at this point, Doohan had already been overtaken, no less, by Behrman. A Behrman who clearly shows how to overtake in F1 and gives him a real lesson. Doohan looks like a rookie. Behrman is a rookie who, at least, learns. He's calm, he knows when to make moves. He stays in control, and he doesn't have a much better car than Alpine. But the key is that he waits, calm and patient, for the right moment. Now you'll see and compare what Behrman does to Doohan, and then you can tell me if Doohan's mega work is really a mega work, as Alpine says. Look, Behrman positions himself, sees that Doohan covers the inside. No problem, I'll take the outside line. Do a switchback as you often see in F1 and pass you sweet and smooth like a nice melody. That's Behrman. On the other hand, now let's see what happens when Doohan faces an overtake. Completely different. Gasly's battle was very good. Check it out in the Maniaticos summary because the trouble Doohan caused was huge. Thanks to all the sport Maniaticos who stayed awake for it. Notice that on lap 43, the gaps are bigger and bigger. Doohan is 2.5 seconds behind Stroll, 3 seconds behind 4.5 or 5 or 6 behind Gasly. Gasly didn't have an excellent race. There are drivers who come to mind like Colapinto, who I think would have shown much more in this race. And on top of all that, Doohan starts dropping more in 1 minute 38.7 seconds. Gasly's at 1 minute 37.9 seconds, so that's half a second or 8/10 he's stagnated. Now Visca arrives and passes him, as does Tsunoda, and then comes Hard. With Hard, he runs into his first big problem, leading to his second penalty of the weekend from the FIA. Look at what he does. He doesn't reach the apex on equal terms. He arrives behind, and even so, he locks his brakes to try the "I'll get to the apex first" tactic. It's something Verstappen does perfectly, but you can't. Look at what you've done. You didn't reach the apex correctly. You pushed him off track, so the FIA penalized you. You see the difference? They say this defense, Doohan's defense on Hard, is mega work for Alpine. Sorry to say it, but it's a dirty move. If you're going to be dirty, at least do it so it's legal. If you tell me, well, you ruined these tires, but you reached the corner in equal conditions, so the FIA didn't penalize you. Okay, but because of this, he tore the other guy's tire. It was 10 seconds, which caused him to finish last. Folks at Alpine, did you see the race or did you fall asleep? Tsunoda had a problem with the front wing exploding out of nowhere, which let Doohan gain a position. I mentioned that because often Doohan gains positions because Bortoleto crashed it, or because someone else blew up, or because they pitted 7 times. Anyway, the FIA basically gave him a warning, and then they penalized him. That wasn't enough for Doohan. He did it again with another super defense. I won't show you the end, but it was epic. Look at what he does on the braking here. It's spectacular. Check out that huge move on the braking that the FIA warned him about again. It's incredibly dangerous. They're nearly on the curb, and Hart is forced to brake. Hart, despite being a rookie, is still calmer. Behrman did it much better, right? But look, at the last moment when Hart decides to go inside, Doohan wasn't covering the inside at first. Doohan moves over. It's borderline. That's why I think the FIA didn't penalize him. But don't tell me it's good defending. Alpine folks, this isn't a mega work. It's a mega dirty move. And what driver does this? If you're going to be dirty, do it well. But this is dirty, and the FIA penalizes you. I don't know what kind of pilot you want if you call this good. It might cost you a lot of points. He's penalized, obviously 10 seconds. Hard was very nervous and tense, saying it was a very late move. By that point, we were nearing the end of the race, where Hard tried passing him for pride. Doohan defended aggressively again, and in the end, Hard got by. Doohan was penalized 10 seconds and finished behind Lawson. He finished behind Lawson, who I don't even think will make it to Japan. And we'll see how Tsunoda and Checo do there. Will never give up. It's madness, folks. This is mega work for Alpine, where Gasly finished 11th in a car that was practically last and nearly scored points. Very good from Gasly, while Doohan finished 16th. 5 drivers in between. He fought with everyone, was aggressive, got 2 FIA penalties this weekend, and had 2 super license points docked. Last week he broke the car in an accident rumored to cost $800,000. Are we insane? Or what's going on here? Alpine folks, can you acknowledge reality already about what's happening with Doohan and with your scrap heap car? I'll show it in the next video. Check out that next video because I've got interesting information. Look at that abysmal gap. Ocon 3.1, 5.6 to 9 seconds, something like that. He ended up 11 seconds behind Gasly plus the penalty, 21 seconds behind in total. According to Alpine, this is mega work. Stop hacking Mr. Oliver, or whichever one of you is running Alpine's Instagram, and notice that the gap between Ocon and Behrman is 20-something seconds. So you can see what it means, that Behrman doesn't need to overdrive and is closer to his teammate. Gasly made mistakes, but wasn't penalized and made overtakes cleanly. Meanwhile, Doohan basically has to overdrive just to go slower than another rookie like Behrman. I think we've proven a lot of points in this video, saying that it was a mega work, that defense of his. I'm sorry, Alpine folks, but it's unacceptable. That's not a mega work. That's going against FIA regulations with 2 penalties this weekend, a broken car, and continuing to support Doohan could cost us dearly. Don't worry, he'll definitely be in Japan. Seeing what we see and knowing what we know at Maniaticos, of course.